Welcome back to In This Slant. We have a lot going on, but I want to start the show off with you two just fighting it out over Davante Adams. Because the whole thing, when we first got the news that broke out, this man was pissed. This man was obviously happy. We got a Raiders fan, Packers fan. So let's start off with you guys. Davante Adams is now a Raider. Before we get into anything else, just tell me how you're feeling after, obviously you've been sitting on it for days now. So how are we feeling after everything now?
How you feeling, Dusto?
I am still hyped about it. I mean, just to have the DC and Adams connection, especially with the weapons that we already had, I think Davante Adams fits it perfectly. He can create separation that we absolutely need in a receiver.
I woke up pretty mad about it. I wasn't really expecting that to happen because I heard a lot of talk, but you know how talk is and sources, sometimes they don't always pan out. So I didn't really think much of it until I woke up that morning and then found out. But, I mean, I think it was a good trade. At first, I didn't like it too much. I thought that he was worth a little bit more than the first and the second. But
I agree, too, with that statement.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to go for, like, 2 firsts at least.
Yeah, I mean, look at Watson. So, like, how much he got. So, I thought that he was worth a little bit more. But, with how old he is, I think he's, like, 29. So, I mean, he's old. So, he's getting older. But I definitely think he was worth every penny he got. I mean, he chose not to stay in Green Bay. That was the report, was that we actually gave him more money, but he just wanted a relocation, which stacking up with Derek Carr, his college buddy, so that would be cool. There's a part of me where it's just like, I wish that, he balls, but then at the same time, like, I kind of want the connection to be off between him and Carr, like, not the same as him and Rodgers, but then again, with them playing college and being best friends, I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. AFC West is going to be amazing to watch. And it'll just be an really awesome pickup.
I'll admit, as a Raiders fan, I'm not saying that Davante Adams, I 100% think he's going to always still perform better in Green Bay. But my opinion on that is just because, Green Bay does not have many weapons. Like, Davante Adams was the number one weapon, like, no matter what. Like, he was, like, 50% of their offense. So, like, I don't think he'll have as good as, like, a career stat-wise. But I think that he'll still, like, he's gonna hit 1,000 yards. No matter what. I think,
or he should for how much he's getting paid.
Yeah, 20. But that's another thing I want to talk about too. Now that I forgot about that, I was so hyped because you heard that he was wanting like 35 million when he signed for only $1 million more than Hopkins. I was like, heck yeah! Any day of the week, I would pay Adams $1 million more than DeAndre Hopkins.
Go ahead. I know you wanted to add something.
Yeah, as a fan, watching this go down, I mean, if I was a Packers fan, I could see where Skyler's coming from. Sad you're losing your star receiver. Like Dustin said, that dude's 50% of that offense, maybe even more. I don't know. Adams is a dog.
He was just force-fed a lot. So I think that's going to actually be good when he leaves because it's actually going to let Rodgers go through his progressions and kind of see who's open instead of, hiking it, coming back in the pocket and looking straight at Adams because he did that a lot. He's a lot of times where he threw in a double, triple coverage, made beautiful dimes, and then caught even awesomer. So, I mean.
And as we all should have seen the sign coming when he bought that $12 million.
I know. It's funny because we were actually going to talk about that one day. And then Rodgers got the extension. We were like, oh, well, Adams is staying. So there's no point even talking about that. Yeah. We should have said something about it, but we never did.
And the home is literally right next to Derek Carr, too.
It's crazy we never talked about it. Like, we just kind of wrote it off because, like, well, Adams is a Packer now. Why are we even going to talk about that?
We just assumed he had the money to just buy a house. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
hey, just get a real estate.
It was early signs, and we just didn't even, like, really notice it. It's
I kind of threw them under the rug. So I was like, oh, no, players buy houses all the time.
Yeah.
So, but
I knew that if Davante was to leave the Packers, I knew it was going to want to be to, like, I knew 100% it was going to, he wanted to be the Raiders.
Yeah.
With Derek Carr.
But after, like, that franchise, like, once they franchise tagged him, I was like, whatever. And then Allen, we were talking about, like, there was rumors about us getting Allen Robinson. Then the Rams signed him. I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Like, the only receiver that I really wanted now is literally off the board. I'm like, who are we going to get now? I was like, we're just going to go into the draft and hopefully get one. And then Davante Adams comes out of nowhere. I'm like, well, never mind. We got our number one that we need. So
and adding Adams to that offense, I like Renfro a lot. I think he proved himself this
third and
season.
Renfro.
Yeah,
third and Renfro. Baby.
Yeah, I think he proved himself this last season here. I heard what was it in practice when they were playing against the Rams? I was hearing that he was burning Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season.
And I thought I was just all hype. He ain't really doing that to the number one corner in the league. And then to come out, he's out here just doing his thing. His route run is elite. Everything about Renfro, I think, and he's a good ass receiver.
And we didn't talk about it. Sorry to cut you off, but like. Because you were talking about Hunter Renfro. Even Davante Adams sent out a tweet that was like, because he was like watching one of the games and he put like Hunter, he was like at Hunter Renfro and put like disgusting, like you're nasty. Yeah, so like just like knowing that, just like seeing how hyped, like I just know this team's gonna be something this year.
And then
No, go ahead.
you got Waller too. What did he come off 1,000 receiving yards 2 years ago?
Yeah, he didn't get it this year. I think he had like 600, and that was with, like he was gone multiple games.
Yeah. If he wasn't hurt, I guarantee he probably
had
would reach that
1,000.
mark. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got all the star power on the Raiders offense. If you guys stay healthy, that team could be something great.
And still too, I think that like people like even though running backs are like hit or miss, like you can get a running back anywhere. I still do think that Josh Jacobs can become a star and like be a running back for us for a while too.
Mhm.
I feel like just like how he is, like it just like he fits the Raiders and what the Raider nation represents.
Traded
Sure.
Yannick for Rock Ya-Sin, and then signed Chandler Jones.
My bad.
You're all right. Signed Chandler Jones, and then, yeah, put them boys back up.
There you go.
But so the Raiders are stacking up on the AFC West as well, looking pretty damn good. So we're excited about the AFC West, I'm sure. But the Green Bay Packers, so are they better off without Devontae Adams? I honestly think the Packers are better off without Devontae Adams. Paying him would have obviously put them in a lot of cap, and like would have hurt their cap obviously a lot, and they wouldn't have been able to do too much. They got Rashul Douglas, Robert Tonyan, and it's funny that Aaron Rodgers even signed his contract knowing that this could happen, which I think comes to a surprise as all of us because we all thought like if Rodgers is staying, Adams is staying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I definitely thought that, but knowing that Rodgers knew about that going on before kind of just shows to me how much he really does want to be a Packer. So
Exactly.
I mean, that's good for us fans and everything. But when in terms of his weapons and everything like that, like I said earlier, I think it's gonna be really good for him to be able to kind of go through his progressions instead of trying to force feed the number one wide receiver in the NFL. But we just gotta get more weapons in. We're most likely gonna end up having the same receiving core as we did last year, literally just minus Tay.
You don't think you guys are bringing anybody in?
I would say do you want Julio or
I mean, I
Landry?
would want. I'd honestly take any big name wide receiver right now, Julio or Landry. I don't want OBJ after his knee incident, unless somebody gives him at least a 2-year deal. He's not gonna do anything in regular season. He will probably get to the end of this year's regular season before he's even able to play if he comes.
You think
back
so?
early? Yeah, because I mean, he had a knee injury and had surgery.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty bad. That's even Bakhtiari took a whole year after he tore his ACL.
Yeah, no, some people recover differently, so
Cam
we won't
Akers.
know for yeah, like
I
Cam
don't think-
Akers.
Was this injury the same as Odell's? Or?
I don't know if it was the same, but obviously Akers supposed to be out for the year and he returns at the end, so
Mhm.
you never know. I think it's everyone's different. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna recover differently. So, but I honestly, like I said, I think the Packers are better off now. They can go. They have those first 2 draft picks, obviously. And the one thing I was even telling him this, I think the Packers didn't want 2 first-round picks because they're in win now mode. And I know that sounds stupid to say, but you have that round 1 and round 2 this year instead of having a round 1 this year and then that round 1 next year. So now you are able to add 2 players in this draft rather than waiting to draft 1 this year and then 1 next year.
Yeah, be able
I
to
think
tag
that's
2
what
names.
I think that might be what it was. Or maybe this, 2 first-round picks never came up. The Raiders weren't going to do that or whatever. I don't know. But I thought that was something that made sense. I'm not sure, but I think getting Adams for only a first and a second is still really good, obviously.
Mhm.
And like so, since we talked about both Adams and on the Packer, like from a Packer side and Raider side, I want to go into a little bit of depth about the Chandler Jones and Rock Ya-Sin thing. Chandler Jones, in my opinion, is already an upgrade from Yannick, and just bringing in Rock Ya-Sin as a cornerback that can just start either next to Trayvon Mullen, or there's been rumors about Stefan Gilmore or something, but Trayvon Mullen and Rock Ya-Sin, I think, is 2 good enough corners. As long as Trayvon Mullen can stay healthy, that will be solid cornerback, so we don't need to worry about that.
And the
Yeah,
thing
good
with
defense.
Yannick, in my opinion, is a lot of his pressures obviously don't show up on the stat sheet. I think he is a good edge rusher, regardless.
Oh no, he's good. He's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And you guys getting Chandler Jones replacing him. Obviously, still think that's a win, though. I'd rather have Chandler Jones over Yannick, but still.
Oh, well, speaking of the Indianapolis Colts, we got news about them yesterday. Obviously, they traded Carson Wentz to Washington earlier in the offseason, like very beginning. And we were all wondering, sitting around, when are the Colts going to get a quarterback? And I don't think anyone could have predicted the circumstances that came with Watson, with how many opportunities could have opened up with wherever he got traded to. Obviously, we're still waiting on Baker Mayfield. That was the thing that could have happened with Indianapolis. But they choose Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan is a Indianapolis Colt for only a 3rd-round draft pick. And the Colts have started Andrew Luck, Scott, what's that guy's name? Scott Tolzien, right?
Scott Tolzien,
for,
yeah.
and then Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan. So the Colts are literally just cycling through quarterbacks, and it's funny because they're pretty much all veterans. Like it's not like I think Brissett was a little bit younger. I'm not sure how old exactly he was, but most of these guys are obviously up there in age. Where does this put the Colts in the AFC? Because we know the AFC's gotten stacked, and I think this is a good move for the Colts, and I think this was the best decision Matt Ryan could have made for his career because I think the Falcons are clearly better than the Colts right now, or vice versa. Colts are clearly better than the Falcons right now. So where does this put Matt Ryan and the Colts in the AFC? What do you guys think?
Honestly, I do understand where it's coming from. I saw a meme yesterday that I just gotta bring up about like it's like the Colts bringing in all these veterans and like sure like a bunch of different old people walking into like a room. But I do think that he's better than Baker Mayfield at this current moment. I think I would have rather had Baker for the upside because in my opinion, I don't know. I just can't pit them above the Titans right now at this moment. And I feel like unless they're getting first in the division, I just don't see them. With like the AFC West and North, like there's gonna be teams that are taking the wild card spot. I just can't see that the Colts are sneaking in as a wild card team. I think in that division, in that conference I'm in the South or AFC South, and just whatever team wins that division is gonna be in the playoffs.
Yeah, whenever you look at the Colts offense, so they still have Jonathan Taylor. So I mean, they're gonna be a predominantly run-based team, and Matt Ryan's gonna be there to kind of fill in every now and then. Make the clutch passes, which we've seen that he can do. But
for sure,
he is getting up there in age, and I heard cap space was a huge deal with him. So
the Falcons took a $40 million dead cap hit, which is the biggest in NFL history.
Yeah, that's crazy. But overall, I mean, I think it could potentially be a good outcome for them. Definitely fight for a top spot in their division to win playoffs. But with overall the AFC picture, I don't see them being as a Super Bowl contender. I mean, they're definitely probably. I'm gonna say probably just below that, just because of how stacked the whole AFC is. It's gonna be a really tough division to get to the Super Bowl, and whoever gets there, it's gonna be a really good Super Bowl. I'll just say that.
Well, I know with the Colts, I don't know if it was Darius Leonard, if he was the one that was upset about, you guys just said the Colts are recycling through quarterbacks left and right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think all of them were upset about it.
Yeah, and I can definitely understand that, you don't have that for sure quarterback. You don't know who your quarterback's going to be next year. You got to rebuild that chemistry, every other year with the new quarterback, and I can only understand why they're getting mad. So, Matt Ryan going there, what was his deal?
I think it's $28 million. Like at least this year is $28 million.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know the logistics of it, but I just know the Falcons, and I know he was getting paid a lot of money. But Matt Ryan will probably be there for like a year or two, I imagine.
I think it was like 3. I think it was like 3. It was 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years left on his contract, something like that. And then obviously, I don't think this puts the Colts as a Super Bowl contender in the AFC. I think they could maybe win their division, but obviously the Titans are the team to beat there with Derrick Henry as long as he's healthy. They do have Jonathan Taylor, who was right behind Derrick Henry. Now, while it was a wide margin, Jonathan Taylor was still second in the league, obviously, until King Henry did get hurt. But yeah, I think the Colts, I do like the move of getting Matt Ryan. I think, like I said, Baker Mayfield would have been more of a long-term option, in my opinion. But with how inconsistent he's been, I get it. Yeah. I mean, you want the guy that can be good right now. And I think Matt Ryan, maybe going to the Colts could be a good move. And I think they could be a wild card team at the very least. If not, I don't really see them making it to the Super Bowl. But I guess you never really know. But with the AFC, how it looks now, it's just I just don't think that's going to happen.
There's only so many spots. And there's
7 spots now. And it's just...
They're not really going to look at playoff long term, though. I mean, they're going to have to focus on everyday games because every week, your full preparation have to go into that because
it's win now. It's win now mode.
Yeah,
it's win now mode.
Gonna be battles in the AFC.
Yeah, and but I honestly could I don't, like I said, not trying to diss any Colts fan, or I don't see them making it as a wild card, in my opinion, at least as what we see from right now. Not saying that after the draft. I mean, after the draft it could change a little bit, but as right now, but I also could see them actually outbeating the Titans in their division. I mean,
I could too.
You're talking about two teams I'm not trying to make it in a bad way, but that are very similar. I mean, the only thing that the Colts
they're both named Ryan. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's not the reason, but they are very similar quarterbacks.
No, I mean team wise,
that too.
The Titans rely on Derrick Henry, and then the Colts rely on Jonathan Taylor. Like they're both similar teams like that. They're older quarterbacks, and they just have that star running back that just runs that team all the way in. I think any of those teams, it's going to be a shootout for both, which one of those teams makes it. But I do think that the Colts have a better defense, and that's why I would kind of put them over the edge a little bit on outbeating the Titans, is just because their defense is really good.
And maybe, who knows, Julio Jones may walk over to his old buddy Matt Ryan in the Indianapolis Colts and get himself another wide. Colts still have cap space, so it's possible.
I did see the Colts players recruiting.
Yeah, why not? Matt Ryan and Julio played together their whole career, other than this last year, obviously, in Tennessee. Didn't work out. He got cut. He's free agent now. I'm seeing Aaron Rodgers or Matt Ryan making a lot of sense for Julio. But the Cleveland Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. We thought it was the Saints, Falcons, Panthers. Panthers got eliminated. We're like, oh, Falcons or Saints. He's probably going to the Falcons then. Apparently, Watson was a ball boy for them. And the Browns walk away with Deshaun Watson, trade 3 first-round picks, a third, and I believe a fourth. and I think there were some more picks out of that trade. Where does this put the Browns in the AFC North? We'll start with the Ravens fan here.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this: being in the AFC North, it's gonna be tough now. You got Watson. We've seen what he's done with the Texans. That dude's a baller. Them giving up is 3 first rounds.
Yeah, 3 first-round picks.
I think it's worth it for Watson. They didn't have to give up any players. They gave up 2 other picks for that too. Having Burrow, Lamar, and Watson in there, it's going to be crazy. I was really hoping he didn't go to the Browns. I was hoping he would stay with the Falcons, which of course, I'm from the AFC North, but it ended up happening. So I guess we're going to be watching that dogfight 2 times a year.
And see, that's another thing too. Is I if I was in Deshaun Watson's shoes, I wouldn't have even wanted to go to the AFC.
Neither would I.
I mean, because obviously, you're already in the AFC, and you're obviously he could have easily ran the Texans. Eventually, if the whole thing didn't happen with him, and all that. But just thinking about it, I'm why not go to the NFC where all the quarterbacks are getting up there in age, a lot of them, and you can easily go in that division. I don't really necessarily see him instantly making an impact if he went to the Falcons. But when I was thinking of the Saints or the Panthers, I thought if he went to any one of those 2 teams, that he was literally they were going to the playoffs instantly, in my opinion. So.
Well, what's crazy, another thing about the Watson, the Browns were officially eliminated from the talks with him.
Exactly.
And then I think is what got him over there is they offered him every dollar he asked.
Oh yeah,
for,
200. It's 200-something million guaranteed.
230 million.
Yeah, something like that.
He's the highest paid.
But in my
right
opinion,
now.
I said this on the last episode. Or it was one of the episodes. I said the Browns were the best roster out of the Falcons and Saints. Now, the Falcons were probably the worst, in my opinion. Apparently they were going to get Landry and Fournette if Watson did sign there, which sucks for Falcons fans, by the way. But regardless, I thought the Browns were the best team. They have Amari Cooper now. They have a lot of good pieces on the defense as well, and the Browns have had some couple good past off seasons. So I thought the Browns were the best team for him to go to. He eliminated them, and then obviously that changed. And out of nowhere, he went to Cleveland. So
the only thing I'm really concerned with him is that his whole case and everything that's going on. The verdict was put down, and that's why he was able to be traded because his situation is kind of clearing up. Then I also saw something on Twitter, and they were talking about the NFL hasn't put down a suspension yet,
which he could be suspended.
Right. So they went out, and as soon as he got cleared of this court cases, it's plural, and then they put him through the trade him off for 3 first-round picks. What if the NFL just happens to hit him with a 1 year?
I don't know if they'll do. What's funny is I think the NFL won't do a 1 year suspension. I literally think it'll be 4 to 6 games because we've seen from the past sexual allegations outside of the NFL have led to, or abusive things have led. Other than wasn't Adrian Peterson suspended for a whole year? Other than that, or it might have been.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of the things we've seen, they're only suspended 4 to 6 games. But then Ridley, which is a topic in itself, suspended for a whole year for gambling on the league. So if Watson does get suspended, I don't see it. I only see it being 4 to 6 games for some reason.
If it was a year, would you think it would be unfair? In retrospect, I think it would be unfair if he got banned for or suspended for a whole year just because of the other players that went through same allegations and got only a 4 to 6 game suspension.
I think regardless, it's gonna get really bad. No matter what, if he gets a suspension or not, because technically he was found not guilty in the court case, but then again, a lot of people have their own opinions. So I could feel no matter what choice is made, if they give one out or if they don't, both outcomes are going to be bad for the NFL.
I think he's for sure going to get at least a small one. I think I saw something about the Browns already getting ready for if he does get a suspension.
I'm about to say they kind of knew what was going on. Obviously.
Yeah,
I feel and they still have Baker. So
yeah, I feel Baker.
Let's talk about Baker.
That's a good.
Baker Mayfield is not staying on the. There's no way. Baker Mayfield already requested a trade before Watson even got there because he felt disrespected, which I understand. But in the way, it is a business, so Baker had to kind of see this coming. I knew that they weren't going to go into the season just fully relying on Baker Mayfield. Now, when we did our predictions, I said Wentz to Cleveland, which obviously didn't happen. I just thought there'd be some kind of competition there. But Watson comes there, and Baker might be a quarterback left without a seat because obviously there's only a few starting spots left. You got Seattle. Carolina apparently doesn't want him, which I thought was going to be the team that would make the most sense for him. And then Atlanta signed Mariota, so we don't know what their situation is. But Seahawks, Baker, does that make sense?
It does, I think so.
You think? I think that's literally the only team. Carolina I would love Carolina, but apparently
I saw that
they're not interested in Baker Mayfield, which I guess maybe they just see it as we trade for Sam Darnold. Why do we want to trade for Baker Mayfield where we don't know if it'll for sure work out? Just like Sam Darnold hasn't for sure worked out with them, so they're stuck with Sam Darnold for now. We'll see what happens.
But so the issue that I do see with Seattle and for Baker, it's just that if you ever watch Russell Wilson, dude, their O-line has always been terrible, and I think that Russell Wilson's a lot more mobile than Baker Mayfield is. So like, I feel like unless they improve that O-line, like you're just gonna see Baker Mayfield getting mopped. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but you saw Russell Wilson out there every game running for his life, and I just don't see Baker Mayfield running for his life and making plays like Russell Wilson can.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Baker can move a little bit.
I'm not saying he's not
in the
mobile.
pocket. He can move a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen a couple plays where he's gotten out of the pocket, and he's a pretty good run out of it too. So.
Yeah, but every play you see every quarterback. I've seen Derek Carr make a good run, but he ain't doing that consistently.
Mayfield was also young though.
Dang, Lamar be scrambling all the time.
Hey, chill. We had a terrible O-line last year.
But I want to give a huge shout out to the Texans who finally move on from Deshaun Watson. That saga is finally over for them. They can build around Davis Mills is what they plan on doing. And I'm excited for them. So, I mean, there's really not too much to talk about. We obviously have to see what they're going to do with their first round picks. I just kind of wanted to mention the Texans. You guys, anything to add?
Well, I'm glad they finally moved on from the Watson thing. We were all waiting for that news.
It was like a year.
Even before the suspension, we were waiting for him to leave there.
It was kind of weird how it all matched up.
Or not suspension, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, he requested a trade, and then all those allegations came out. So then the situation just became weird. But obviously, finally, he's gone. So the Texans get to move on. But let's talk about the teams that lost out on Watson. So we said Falcons, Saints, Panthers. So the Saints just went ahead and re-signed Jameis Winston, which I like. I like it because I think Winston played decent before he went down on Halloween.
I think, didn't a couple of us choose Winston, or was it just? I think one of us did.
For Saints? Yeah, no, I think we all did. I think we all did. Maybe one of us chose Winston somewhere else, but I'm pretty sure
it was a re-sign, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we were like, oh, they're probably gonna get him back. So I honestly think the only person that has gotten one right is literally you for Aaron Rodgers with Packers. We've gotten every single one wrong.
No, we got Winston right.
Yeah, I think we got Winston.
Yeah, but we
got that one too.
Because I think we all picked.
Yeah, and like we were talking about the ones that like where people did move. We got them all wrong. But so Mariota.
I honestly like the fit. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Baker, but I would rather if I was the Falcons, I'd rather shoot my shot with Marcus Mariota over Baker. I just feel like with all the help they need, like I mean, they could just like maybe build a roster around him, but like I feel like Marcus Mariota, like the one game that Derek Carr pulled his groin, which he ended up coming back into that game. But Marcus did look good. I mean, he looked like he was having fun out there. He was running all over the field, making plays. I mean, I still think Marcus Mariota, I'm not saying that he deserves a starting spot, but this is his time to prove if he is able to prove.
It literally reminds me of Mitchell Trubisky of the Steelers. It's almost like the same situation where like former first-round quarterbacks obviously have not worked out with their respective teams, and they both actually had success with the Titans for Mariota. They both made the playoffs with the respective teams, but that was more, along the lines of the defensive play and everything else. But now they're obviously, became backup quarterbacks elsewhere, and now they finally get a potential to start with Atlanta and start with Pittsburgh. So I think the situation is very, very similar, although I would give the, obviously the advantage to Mitchell Trubisky. I think the Steelers are definitely better than the Falcons right now, but obviously Falcons can continue to build a little bit more. But shout out to Mariota getting a start, and then Panthers are stuck with Sam Darnold for now. I would imagine we are going to see a quarterback draft in the first round, unless there's something changes and they trade for Baker Mayfield. But I think 100% got to draft a quarterback round one.
I see it.
I can't remember what pick they are. Are they before?
I think they're top 10, but I don't remember.
Because I know the Steelers are not. Why am I saying Steelers? Seahawks. Seahawks have the number 9 pick, so I think the Panthers might have the pick before them. I think they're like 6, maybe, if I remember right.
Let me double check what pick they have.
Because whatever, I think if you need a quarterback in the draft right now, Malik Willis, I think, is basically proven himself. I think as the number one quarterback in the draft. I was watching the little Ian Rappaport was streaming the little his little day
combine
little pro day.
Yeah, the sixth pick.
Yeah, see, I knew it was the 6th. So I think that if the Panthers are smart, unless a team trades up for Malik Willis, or you see the Lions could, I guess, also if they wanted to pick up
golf,
maybe maybe not get rid of him, because I think they would just take too big of a cap hit.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, just pick up Malik Willis at number 2 to have him sit behind.
I can also still see the Steelers grabbing a quarterback though. I don't see them being solely dependent on Trubisky.
Well, they have some depth at quarterback still, though.
Yeah, but
the second string?
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
And then
I guess they'll have to battle for the spot. I guess
Mason Rudolph. I was blanking on the other guy.
Yeah.
Rudolph.
I mean, honestly, they kind of have like a young, like 3 core, like they're
got
all
a young quarterback room.
Yeah.
I think Rudolph's a little bit older, but Haskins probably like under 25.
I see them having them three battle it out.
Yeah, probably.
I definitely do too.
Because I mean, most we've seen you guys see the quarterback movement. Most teams seem like they didn't believe in this quarterback draft class because almost everyone has kind of gotten a starter for the most part. So obviously there will be some teams that draft a quarterback round 1. I would imagine, like Seattle.
I honestly, this might be a bold prediction as of right now, but I feel like the only quarterback, like, I mean, there might be, like, I mean, you could see him go just because there's a couple of teams that need it. But I think the only quarterback, that, in my opinion, that's worth a round 1 pick is Malik Willis, in my opinion, just of what he's done. I thought it was Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, but the whole thing came out about his hand size being a little bit too small for what they wanted. So, I mean, after that, I mean, I like Matt Corral too, but I mean, the only quarterback I would waste a first-round pick on this year is Malik Willis. And other than that, I just wait till another draft class where there's better quarterback prospects.
Yeah. Notable free agent signings we should probably talk about a little bit. Juju to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal. Austin Hooper 1 year to the Titans, and then they trade a 6 for Robert Woods, so they replace Julio Jones with Robert Woods. Rams sign Allen Robinson. Von Miller signs a massive deal with the Buffalo Bills. Does not go to the Broncos. Does not go to the Rams. Goes to the Bills.
That was a fat deal too.
Leonard Fournette back to the Bucks, although he was visiting the Patriots. And then I saved this one for last because I know it's gonna upset maybe you two just a little bit. Zadaria Smith to the Vikings. Signed initially was an agreement to sign with the Ravens, backed out, and now he's a Minnesota Viking. So
brand new that we just found out today.
Well, I want to say one thing about Juju. I think it's weird that he chose the Chiefs this year. I mean, last year. The Chiefs and the Ravens offered him more money than the Steelers, and he still chose the Steelers, but now he goes to the Chiefs.
I think this is respect for Big Ben, I would imagine, wanting to play with
I
him.
It can be, but I guess.
That's what I would assume it was, in my opinion.
And, like, I was going to bring up Juju, too, real quick, because, like, I just want to talk about, like, I kind of want to go in depth a little bit about these little free agent signings. I think Juju, I mean, he had a lot of, like, I think he had, like, 3, because like I told you, the Raiders also offered for Juju last year, too. And I think it's a solid fit. It's definitely, like, it's not the. I don't know how I feel about it.
I think it's a solid fit.
I
I think
like it
having
too.
Tyreek as a number 1 and Kelsey, and then adding Juju in the mix.
I mean,
as
you
a
guys are
slot,
talking. That's
gonna make them even stronger, and he can catch.
You guys are talking about the on the field stuff. I'm excited for the off the field stuff with Jackson Mahomes. The TikToks are gonna be lit,
You're
right?
so ready to watch.
Patrick
TikToks.
Mahomes sent in a paragraph to Jackson Mahomes. Please don't do TikToks with Juju.
I'm pretty sure he already Jackson Mahomes already posted on his Instagram story or something like that, and he was like, "I guess it's time for us to collab."
The collab is gonna be lit, boys. Buckle it in. It's gonna be lit.
I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes right now. I'm sorry, Pat.
No, how are you feeling about Zadaria Smith? We gotta let you. And then you didn't get to talk about Marcus Williams last week either.
Well, I'm excited about that, I guess. I mean, I was more happy for Tyrann Mathieu to come to Baltimore. I think Marcus Williams was a surprise. So I don't think any Ravens fan even expected us to sign him, or even I didn't even see any reports of us talking about him, or even sending him offers. So I mean, I guess I'm pretty happy with that. Especially with Deshaun Elliott, I really wish we kept him, but his injuries, played a big part in us not keeping him. But when that dude's on the field, he's a dog. Best of luck to Elliott out there. But
Zadaria Smith.
That too. So we offered him what? It was like 4 years.
$8 million.
Yeah, it was $8 million a year. Yeah, and obviously after he's seen Chandler Jones and Von Miller get paid,
He's like, nah, give me more money.
yeah, and I don't blame him for that, But I really wish he did stay with us. He did agree. I think it was verbal, so obviously he wasn't signing
Well,
the paper.
a rumor said that it was his agent that agreed to it, and then once Za'Darius learned what the deal was, he was like, "I'm not signing that. It's not enough."
Well, I did read something. They both agreed verbally, but obviously
there was a few guys that agreed verbally, then backed out. Obviously, Greg Hardy with the Cowboys and Broncos thing, J.D. McKissick with Buffalo and Washington, which, in my opinion, Buffalo general manager needs to stop crying about it because it's the legal tampering period. So obviously, you're going to try to get your guys back regardless. But Stefan Gilmore has not found a team yet as we're recording this. Tyrann Mathieu. I've barely heard anything about Mathieu. I have no idea where he's going. And
the last I heard was the Colts.
Teron Armstead as well, who was visiting the Dolphins. So I imagine that deal could maybe be wrapped up soon. And then the Bengals got Lyle Collins. Their offensive line looks awesome.
They're already fixed.
Looks awesome.
It looks amazing right now.
Honestly, I think now, like in my personal opinion, I'm not trying to like diss the Ravens fan. I mean, as long as they can stay healthy, I think those two will be the ones battling out for first in that different division. But
you're wrong. It's the Cleveland Browns. No, I'm just kidding.
What the Bengals have done, I see Joe Burrow balling out next year, boy.
Real. He's gonna have time in the pocket.
Yeah, he never had time in the pocket. My man was literally getting mobbed. Like was terrible.
7 sacks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he got hit a lot.
Man, listen, give Lamar that 2019 offensive line, man, and we stay healthy. Boom, man! I tell you.
But,
Go.
no, about the whole Z thing, like especially him going to a rival for us, going to the Vikings. That's insane. Like
Brett
That's
Favre all
dirty.
over again.
That's dirty.
and Greg Jennings, like holy man. But no, he went out, he got the bag. Especially, unfortunately, it was our rival, especially one of our big rivals. But I hope he balls at the same time. He can ball not on us. Don't touch Rodgers, but sack everybody else. Go off, make your money, but show respect to us if you sack us. Like, come on, don't. If he gets up and hits discount double check, I might burn the jersey.
Are you gonna go through the TV and beat him up or something?
Yeah, I might. I was thinking about it. No, I have his jersey and I gave it to my nephew, so we'll figure out what he does if he hits the discount double check.
We can burn it live on the show.
All right, yeah, we'll burn it inside the house.
And burn the house down.
Another thing about the Zadaria thing, man, I was so excited because we needed an edge rusher. Him and Adolfo, our first round pick last year, they would have been great together. And for $8 million a year, that was so great.
That was a steal.
And,
and then to find out he's not coming at, man, I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing too. Is like I get that he didn't want the $8 million a year, but I mean, I would have just bumped it up to like $2 million. Like I think $14 million, in my personal opinion, for a guy that played one game last year, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that
you got to look at his background though.
I know
the
his
years
background.
he did in Green Bay. He didn't play with us for very long, but that dude was dominant, bro. Every time he played with us, he was a monster.
He's solid, but you got two on the Vikings. In my personal opinion, now your best players on defense is probably Danielle Hunter and now Zadaria.
You still got Smith. Right? They
and
still
the
got
strong
Harrison.
safety.
Yeah. But so those three, but
and Barr.
Yeah, Barr's still there.
No,
I don't like
Barr is a free agent right now.
Let's go. I don't.
Whoa.
After he broke Aaron Rodgers' collarbone, I did not like that. I did not like.
I don't know.
Him.
I feel like with
dude.
Danielle Hunter and Zadaria, you just got two players that are like kind of injury prone. So like if they can stay healthy, I do see those two wreaking havoc and like it will be super solid to watch. It's just about like you're taking a big risk on two players and then you're paying them a good amount of money. That people that just get injured,
Well, with EDC too. Sorry to cut you off there, Skyler, but he apparently offered Zadarius, I guess, like 2 more offers after that, and obviously he still declined. But and with his injury though, I heard, was it a back injury?
Yeah. Zadarius was a back injury.
See, with those,
he had surgery too.
I feel like those can just flare up at any time too. So with the Vikings
really
taking him,
especially with his position too, having to come up off the 3-point stance and everything, like that could eventually over time hurt him out, but. I mean, I don't think we're really worried about anybody in our division though. For the Packers wise, I mean, okay. I'm worried about the Vikings and the Bears. I am worried about them because they have new coaches and offensive coordinators. They kind of revamped their coaching rooms, so this year is going to be exciting because Bears aren't going to have Nagy, and then Vikings aren't going to have whatever coach that they've had, which they've had like 5 in the last couple years. Like they just keep going off, but.
Well, let's
it'll be interesting.
No, keep going. Okay.
It'll just be interesting.
Well, let's end the show off with this: the whole Urban Meyer saga. So obviously he got fired mid-season. There was so much going on with that. He, cheated on his wife during the season. There was a report that he was kicking a player in Josh Lambo. You kicked Josh Lambo.
You kicked the kicker.
Yeah, he kicked the kicker. And then I gotta read this paragraph to you guys because this is just the most insane stuff I've ever read for an NFL head coach. So it said, while most players adopted an attitude of minding their own business, as Meyer's behavior grew more bizarre, it grew harder to ignore some of the unusual actions. Let me read you guys some of that unusual actions. For instance, Meyer insisted that Tim Tebow have free reign of the facility and practice field long after he had been cut. So Tebow's not on the team, but he is able to come.
He loves Tebow.
Weekly Tebow Tuesday. Theme days were mandatory, where every player in practice donned Tebow's professional number 85 jersey while Coach Meyer would wear his tactical jean shorts and patrol the field on his off-brand or NFL-branded NFL scooter, screaming, "Get some" at injured players. What the absolute...
Wait. What did he say?
He said, "Get some" at injured players. Like, what am I reading right now? The last straw was when Urban tried to require players to sign mandatory competitive chastity pledges where players sworn to abstain from all sexual activity between December and May to avoid any possible missed games due to impending birth of a child. The one may have been a little ahead of its time, Urban said when reached for comment. What the hell did I just read? Urban Meyer might be the weirdest head coach I've ever, that is the craziest.
Well, Myers wasn't taking a break from sexual
No, he definitely was not.
Talk about a controlling head coach, man.
Look at that whole Florida team that he had coached with Tim Tebow. I mean, that whole team was wild. So, I mean, for him to come out as an NFL coach and do some of this stuff is just
Imagine being a
Absolutely.
player.
It's
If I was literally a
hilarious,
player in
but
the NFL,
terrible.
he's like, "Hey, every Tuesday, forget Taco Tuesdays. This is Tim Tebow Tuesdays." I'd be like, "You're buying me the jersey, right? I'm not. You're not gonna catch you wasting my money on a Tim Tebow
I
jersey."
feel like that would be terrible for the players. Like, honestly, imagine, like, you have your dream to play in the NFL, and you get there, and you have a coach pulling this stuff.
Oh man.
It just
Like,
sounds like a clown show.
It does. It sounds really bad.
And he's
Especially
saying-
for the NFL, it just sounds terrible.
He's saying get some
at
to
any
hit players.
Like, what?
You take your
Get some.
ACL, you're on the ground. He comes by, he's like, "Get some."
Some of the most bizarre stuff I've ever read, man. And what I wanted to end it off with that. So that'll be this for this episode. So thank you guys for watching and listening. Appreciate it. This is In the Slant. We're saying peace.
Get some.